This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the Mailbag here on this Friday, the 16th day of May, 2025. We've got a few emails to get to today. I don't know if this is going to be a really long episode, particularly long. I think it's going to be, I don't know, my guess before it starts, 40 minutes. Let's see if I'm right. But if you want to join us on Patreon, good time to do it. 7 days for free if you want to try us at patreon.com/WWE podcast for all of your needs for ad-free listening. All righty, let's go to the emails. We are going to start with DJ, and he says, I think this might possibly happen. But before I mention what it is, let me answer your $1 million question as to who could possibly join Seth's Disciples stable. Firstly, I thought of the name The Disciples. Since one, there isn't currently a name. Two, it ties in with Rollins' former Monday Night Messiah gimmick. And three, this could potentially be a cult-like following in which Rollins is convincingly overlooked and underutilized talent to join him and be his disciples, kind of similar to when Punk had the Straight Edge Society in the late 2000s. That could happen. Right now, they've just pretended that the Messiah gimmick never happened. I really enjoyed that gimmick. I thought there was more to it than we saw. And maybe it just happened during the bad time of the pandemic when it was just no man's land and they were kind of floating along like everybody else. And it was just awkward with no crowd, and we all remember that. But they could be the disciple thing. I have no issue with them bringing back any kind of Messiah reference. I know that, again, that's a version of Seth that like no one ever talks about on air, but I really enjoyed it. In some ways, I enjoyed it more than his whatever version of this Seth is, or prior to him turning heel that we saw for 5 years. The kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, the flamboyant, crazily dressed, I don't know, sing-along. I don't know what that is. I don't even know how to describe the last version of Seth, but I actually like the Messiah better. Now to the names who I think might join Rollins. Sami Zayn. I don't know if you paid attention to Sami when he had the steel chair and he was on the left of Punk. I literally thought that Sami was going to hit Punk. Plausible. And people have been waiting for Sami to turn. If you remember when Jey Uso was celebrating with the Intercontinental Championship, or I'm sorry, the World Heavyweight Championship, there was that moment that we all thought Sami was going to haluva kick Jey, and it didn't happen. So they've been teasing it, whether they know it or not, for a while. And I don't mind Sami as a heel. It's been a while. It's been a long time, actually, since Sami Zayn's been a heel. Since he first infiltrated the bloodline is, I believe, the last time, which is how many years ago now? 4 years ago, I feel like. It's been a while. Bronson Reed, who might be making his return at Saturday night's main event next week. Yes, and that's kind of my front runner too, is Bronson Reed. 3, Austin Theory, who needs to separate himself from Grayson Waller. It's kind of weird that WWE Creative has teased Grayson possibly turning on Theory for almost a year and a half, and they never pulled the trigger. That's all the names I can think of from the Raw roster, but what if Seth comes to SmackDown to recruit, or maybe even NXT? Yeah, so Austin Theory, we have so many times where, I mean, throughout the last, as you said, 18 months, where we thought someone's going to turn. Who's going to turn? Is Austin Theory's going to try to, is he going to turn on Waller? Is Waller going to turn? And then Austin Theory goes on a babyface run, all of this. And again, that's been talked about for 18 months. The reason I think they haven't pulled the trigger is because they don't know where they're going to go from there. And they don't have the confidence that the turn is going to be as successful as they want it to be. I think that's the only reason. If they thought it was going to be really successful, or they had real plans for it, they would have done it already. So it's kind of a slap in the face to Austin Theory, to be honest with you. But Austin Theory is a candidate. He's a candidate to really do anything. I mean, would anybody be surprised if he suddenly wins the U.S. title, or he wins Money in the Bank even, or if he just stays where he is, or if he joins Seth's stable? There's so many things Austin Theory could do. No one would really be shocked by any of it. But where he's at right now is the lowest he's been in his career, and yet he beat John Cena at WrestleMania. Do you remember that? Yeah, neither do I. So talk about a lost victory. So 3 names from SmackDown. And again, SmackDown, I don't really even count them as having a brand split because they don't. They can pretend they do, but they don't. So they don't adhere to their own rules. People cross over all the time. There is no brand split. So I don't buy into any of that. So they absolutely could pull from the SmackDown roster. That is 100% plausible. And if you were to do that, you have a few names. Kevin Owens, if he returns, and I hope he does. Nathan Frazier, if WWE ever plans to split him from his tag partner Axiom. Plus, Frazier was mentored by Rollins before he came to WWE. And 3, Carmelo Hayes, which could possibly ditch The Miz and join Rollins. Interesting to note that as I'm reading the names of the talent that's on the SmackDown roster, I still see Paul Heyman's name. Finally, I think a wild card name that could possibly join Rollins is Omos. He mostly does house shows, but it would be cool to see him back on TV regularly, especially something of this magnitude that can help him get better booked. I really wouldn't mind Omos. I mean, we know what he is. I actually believe that he's better than he should be with his size. Sure, he's kind of a one-trick pony. He's an attraction. He's never going to give you that 5-star match as we define it today. But that's not his role. That's not his role in wrestling. There are a role for guys like Omos, and I think he fills that kind of gimmicky, massive dude that can have a top role for a short period of time and then go away. And in short bursts, Omos in the ring is fine. And having him there actually would be a fun dynamic with him and Seth, because he could be the bodyguard instead of being the bodyguard for Raw Underground, if y'all remember that. Remember, he was the bouncer at the door for wherever that mysterious place was underground. So it kind of fits him. Now, what might happen that I was thinking was Roxanne Perez joining the Judgment Day alongside Balor and JD and possibly even Raquel and Carlito. And Balor finally turns on Dom. I think it might set up 2 things, Balor versus Dom for the IC title and the ladder of Liv versus Roxanne. Kind of similar to the matchup of last year of Priest versus Balor and Rhea versus Liv for the OG Judgment Day era. I agree. I mean, I don't have any objections to that. It's logical. I really don't. DJ Kuzmos signing off. All right, DJ. Thank you, sir. Let's talk to another patron. As always, guys, patrons get priority here. This is Darren. He says, after Cena's terrible match with Cody at WrestleMania, I thought that maybe having bad matches was going to be his gimmick. Like how he was saying, quote, the fans aren't going to get what they want. But after the match with Randy, that was 100 times better. I think maybe it was just that Cena and Cody don't have great chemistry in the ring. So I have to say that is possible. I don't know how many matches Cody and Cena have had together. I don't know if they've ever had any. Well, I shouldn't say never. I'm sure as Stardust, but for all intents and purposes, they don't have a ton of minutes in front of a televised crowd for the last 5-10 years. I don't know if it's chemistry because those two are such pros. It may not be chemistry as much as it was just horrible booking, and you can have great chemistry with a guy and you have an off night. So they still could have great chemistry. We just haven't seen it yet. There's that possibility if you want to be an optimist. But more than likely, it was just a horribly booked match. And if the match ending wasn't what it was, I don't think we'd be looking at that match and saying they have bad chemistry. Because that's just, that kind of gets just sucked into the vortex of a horrible ending, one of the worst, as we know, that we've ever seen in WrestleMania history. And everything that touched it is now tainted with this disease. So I think we're also looking at it in a bit of a skewed lens because of that horrible ending. Oh, and I was listening to the Raw review and I was about to write in my answer for the question of who should join Seth and Braun. Then you said my answer, Bronson Reed. If he is ready to come back soon, he would be a perfect fit, Darren. So yes, that I would agree. I agree with myself. I agree with me. But I also agree with you, Darren. I mean, Bronson Reed's a perfect fit. I understand that Seth and Bronson Reed have had their issues in the past. We know what he did. Bronson has done to Seth with how many tsunamis. Remember that? That was a fun little program for a while. But that's why Seth could recruit him, knowing how dangerous firsthand that Bronson Reed is. Their issues are now water under the bridge. They've had their matches, and that would be a perfect reason to bring him in, knowing how dangerous he is. So I think Bronson Reed's a perfect fit. Now you're going to have Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Hopefully they don't bring back Braun Strowman. Imagine you have Braun, and Bronson. I mean, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they just start calling him Reed. I mean, back when, you remember when Vince was in charge, how many times he would just eliminate people's first names and they just start calling him the last name? That happened a lot. So perhaps, if it gets too confusing, they could just say, Reed or Breaker. But anyway, thanks, Darren. All right, let's go to Stevie G. He says, good afternoon. I think I'm willing to bet money on the third member of the newest faction being introduced at Saturday night's main event. And I think the answer couldn't be more obvious. Jey Uso is going one-on-one with Logan Paul, who has been Jay's personal public enemy number one for weeks. It seems to me that the creative is merging both the feud with Paul and the heat with Rollins and Breakker together pretty slowly, and it will culminate on May 28th in Tampa. That's my prediction, and I'm taking it to the bank. Keep up the awesome work with the podcast. I've been a dedicated listener to the reviews and still am as excited for the possibility of live shows. Yeah, I did that about a month ago for WrestleMania. I still can, and I probably should bring them back. Maybe I'll just start making them Sundays live shows. That'd be fun. Maybe I'll just starting, and this isn't official starting this week, but I've learned that you guys love live shows, so perhaps I just should start doing them and stop being a bad content creator. So thanks, Stevie. As far as these two programs merging with Jay and Logan Paul, and you have Rollins and Breakker, if they're coming together, I don't think that's a bad idea. Do I agree if I was to take money to the bank, as you said? I'd probably say no, but not confidently, because I can see where you would view that as them coming together and culminating on May 28th at the Saturday night main event. Absolutely. And I wouldn't hate that. At the same time, I do kind of like them separate. I do like them separate because Jay and Logan both deserve it to be not so messy. I know WWE and pro wrestling in general has an issue, kind of a sickness where they just decide to have everybody, as many people as possible for fatal four ways, fatal five ways, and it's all these. But I really like more concise one-on-ones more often than not, and I think Logan has shown you he can have one-on-one programs. People hate him, but they can't help but respect him, and that's what makes them hate him even more. That they are forced to recognize how good he is, and truth is really the enemy here, because people. If you're saying that, and I'm not saying you, Steven, but just the general fan base is saying that Logan Paul is bad in the ring, he doesn't know how to wrestle, you're lying, and you know you're lying. You're lying to yourself, or you're lying outright, because Logan Paul is very good in the ring, and that's also what makes it more frustrating if you don't like Logan Paul to begin with, because then you're forced to come to grips with the truth that he is an incredible in-ring performer, and he has no business being this good with this few matches under his belt. And he could absolutely be one of the faces of the company in the next several years. All right. Thank you, Stevie G. All right. Let's see if I have any more emails. I might have another one. If not, I know I definitely have voicemails here. So let's see. No, I might do it for the emails. So let's start with those voicemails right now.
This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name, as I take it to my 44th episode of the Joe Hendry Report. And like always, coming to you live from an undisclosed location. Before we start the show, I have two quick things to mention in the world of Joe Hendry. The first thing is, I finally got to say his name and he appears WrestleMania 41 shirt. The same shirt that Joe Hendry wore on night 2 of WrestleMania 41. The shirt was supposed to arrive originally in June, but the shirt came this morning, so I've posted the photos in the Discord chat for you guys to check it out. The second thing I want to mention in the world of Joe Hendry was breaking news yesterday. Lucha Libre AAA, the same wrestling promotion that got acquired by WWE, they will be collaborating with both TNA and WWE on June 15th, Father's Day, for their Triple Mania Regia. I guess you could say it's the WrestleMania of Lucha Libre AAA, which happens almost every single year. But Joe Hendry will be on this event. happening live from Monterrey, Mexico. So remember that date, folks. June 15th, Father's Day, Triple Mania Regia collaboration with TNA Pro Wrestling, WWE, and Lucha Libre AAA. Now let's take it to what took place last week on an episode of TNA Pro Wrestling as Trick Williams was opening the show to invade TNA, as he mentioned that he was bragging about taking out Joe Hendry after when Joe Hendry embarrassed him when he came on an episode of NXT a couple of weeks ago, and then he did the favor by attacking him on TNA Rebellion, and of course on the previous episode of TNA Pro Wrestling. He mentions the difference between himself and Joe Hendry, and he says that Joe Hendry wants to be liked, while Trick Williams wants to be respected. Well, it seems like those words triggered something in Joe Hendry as he made an appearance. He didn't say anything as he was stopped by a couple of the TNA security guards. He attacked the security guards, en routing into attacking Trick Williams as they have another brawl, and as the security guards try to break these two guys apart. Joe Hendry goes for the standing ovation chokeslam on one of the security guards as Trick Williams walks away. He gets out of the area, and now we continue the build for the two big events. First, TNA Under Siege, that will be happening on Friday, May 23rd, of Trick Williams and the self-proclaimed king of TNA, Mr. Frankie Kazarian, versus Joe Hendry and Elijah. And then on May 25th, NXT Battleground, live from Tampa Bay, Florida, it will be Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. But we have to first get to the contract signing. And let's get to that contract signing. Very interesting, as I may say, as this contract signing segment was not in the ring. It was inside of a conference room with the NXT General Manager, Ava Raine, in the middle, Joe Hendry to her right, and Trick Williams to her left. I just want to mention 3 quick points in this contract signing, which lasted about 4 minutes. First, Hendry says, TNA is the hottest it's been in years, and it's all because he wakes up every day thinking about what he can do to make it bigger than ever. And then Trick Williams says he's bigger than TNA and NXT combined. He's Hollywood Trick Willie, whatever that is, and next Sunday, he's going to take Joe's fame, his title, and TNA. And then Joe Hendry says to close it off, there's no path to the NXT Championship for Trick Williams, and after when Joe beats him, he'll have no path to go anywhere else, and the doubt will come in, and his star will come crashing down. So if anyone is going to find out what it's like to have his 15 minutes expire, it's none other than Trick Williams. So both guys signed the contract, and now it's official that on May 25th, live from Tampa Bay, Florida, for the TNA World Championship, it will be Joe Hendry versus none other than Trick Williams. Always remember to believe, say his name. Always remember the words that Joe Hendry says anytime, any place, at any show. And most importantly, always remember to do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends. Believe and peace.
DJ, thanks for keeping us updated on the TNA and WWE NXT overlap. This has been one of the greatest collaborations between promotions, at least in my lifetime, because forever it was just, no, we're in our world, you're in yours. You're our competitors. We want nothing to do with you. We don't want to help you. And this has been really just a nice change, and it helps not just TNA, which is also great. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, you should root for TNA to be successful too. And TNA will never actually compete with WWE. So they are really a non-competitor, even though they're in the same space of pro wrestling, or as they'd say, entertainment, but it's really pro wrestling. So I love this collaboration. It helps create eyeballs for TNA. It brings in guys for, if you're not able to work on WWE's primary television, you're able to go over to TNA, work on your craft, work with other new guys, get yourself in a position to come back to the main roster. And it also gives you anticipation of who could come up, like a massive, I mean, we all know when Joe Hendry comes up for sure, and for good, it's going to be a massive deal. So it's a great collaboration. And I appreciate, DJ, you keeping us updated on Trick Williams and obviously Joe Hendry and Nick Nemeth, as you always do. So thanks so much. Let's continue.
Alex, the French guy here, your current European champion. Guys, there's 2 guys I want to be pushed at this time. One, Drew McIntyre. Guys, I heard that Drew McIntyre was about to be hurt against Damian Priest. He was about to be out of the screen for a long time because of this pitiful feud. Guys, this feud is not on the level of Drew McIntyre. I am sorry, I like you, Damian Priest, but you are not on the level of Drew McIntyre. You have no reason whatsoever to have a feud against him. And Drew McIntyre, he should be put immediately in the main event picture. The guy is a main event. The guy is selling. The guy knows how to sell. Nothing else to be said. I think there's no argument to be made. All of people know exactly that Drew McIntyre is a main event guy, and he should be where he belongs, which is in the main event. Karrion Kross is the second guy, and I like the guy. I like the talents. I like how he's working. I like a lot about the guy. The only thing that I'm not sure about is his character, but it's working what's in this moment. But what the guy needs, the Karrion Kross needs, is screen time and a prominent storyline, because he was in and out with the AJ Styles and Logan Paul storyline, and he cut a promo that went viral where he shooted he said that he deserved more, in a nutshell. And I don't know if you recall, guys, but I think it was last week or the week before, he was talking to AJ Styles and saying that Logan Paul is a shame to wrestlers. He should feud with Logan Paul. I hope that he gets interfered maybe with the match of Jey Uso, or I don't know, maybe if they want to protect Jey Uso and Logan Paul, if they want to protect Logan Paul, they can make him intervene against Logan Paul. Of course, Karrion Kross is a heel, Logan Paul as well, but people are cheering for him. He can still be a heel, but be a cool heel in a way. So, please, guys, make Karrion Kross, push Karrion Kross, make him having screen time. It's very important, and make him feud against Logan Paul. That would be cool. Bye, guys.
Alex, good to hear from you, buddy. I can't disagree. I mean, you have Drew McIntyre, who was on fire, having a career year, having a WrestleMania match that was fine, but it could have been easily another match on a televised show. That did not feel WrestleMania worthy to Drew McIntyre, or for Drew McIntyre. No disrespect to Damian, who works his ass off and has really reinvented himself from the early days, but that was not a match for Drew McIntyre. I would agree Drew McIntyre is deserving of more right now. While he's in this character, while you have him under contract, he understands who he is. He's polished, never has a bad match, never gets the company in trouble. He is exactly who you'd want to put at the top of the card. He can cut a promo with anybody. He is the all-around package for a professional wrestler. And why they're not doing more with him, I don't know. Now, he's not going to be in the championship picture facing John Cena anytime soon unless John Cena turns back babyface. So he's probably going to float around the U.S. title picture for a while and having various feuds. And as far as Karrion Kross goes, I would agree too. I mean, we saw the explosion he had before WrestleMania with that interview he did. And since then, they haven't really capitalized on it the way that I think a lot of us hoped that they would. So we'll see what they do. But I can't disagree with you, my friend. I can't. Always good to hear from you, Alex. Let's continue the voicemail train.
Hey, Matt, it's Devin here from Australia. Busy week here. Pretty much crumbling under the stress of work, but anyway, that's my problem. Hey, watched Backlash for a bit of escapism, and it was a right show. I really, the only three matches I cared was the US Championship, which I enjoyed it a lot. And John Cena versus Randy Orton. That was a good match. I mean, Cena had to win. I think we all knew he was going to win. They couldn't have him have as short of a run. But when I saw Randy Orton RKO him on SmackDown the night before, I'm like, no. to me, when a face attacks and leaves the heel lying on the mat in a go home show, I always think, oh, that's usually a dead set giveaway that the heel's going to win. I might be wrong, but I've always seen it that way. The Gunther McAfee match, I mean, is Triple H starting to go a bit like bloody Vince McMahon with his creativity here? Because there's no way. What really irked me was when Gunther, showed respect after the match to McAfee for putting up such a fight. What a crock of, you know what? No way was McAfee ever. He gets out of a sleeper hold that no one else really ever has. Are we supposed to believe that McAfee's going to get out of it? It begs belief. I thought this is stinking Gunther. I don't know what they're trying to prove with this. So it should have been a squash. There's no doubt it should have been a squash. And to make McAfee look like he's up there against those who have taken on Gunther, it's a joke, absolute joke. So I'm sorry if I'm whining for everyone out there in the universe, but it is what it is. I thought it was a stupid way of doing it. He should have been squashed. Pat McAfee should have been squashed. Anyway, other than that, thanks again for a great show and for allowing me some time out of a stressful life. Take it easy, man. See ya.
Well, you certainly aren't telling me anything that I already haven't vented myself and whined and cried about regarding Gunther and McAfee. McAfee has absolutely no business in the ring with Gunther, and if they did it, there should have been a couple of initial flurry from McAfee, and that was it. And that should have been it, and then the rest should have been a 10-minute uncomfortable beatdown. That's it. No potential spots where McAfee could win. Oh my God, he could pull off. No. There's nothing for Gunther to gain, everything for him to lose, and nothing for McAfee to lose and everything to gain. This was a completely backwards matchup for Gunther. It did nothing for him. The Jey Uso loss at WrestleMania hurt him. The McAfee match, I think, ultimately hurt him because there's no reason for him to be in that ring with McAfee. And if he is, there should be absolutely no offense other than, the first 10 seconds of the match. And then again, on Raw, we have McAfee who's not even selling the damn match. That's almost the worst part. You have McAfee who's not even selling the beating. It's abominable. You have Gunther, a guy that honestly should still be undefeated. There's a case to be made for Gunther to still be undefeated. I understand Sami Zayn did the impossible at last year's WrestleMania. This year's WrestleMania, Gunther loses again. Gunther does not have a great track record at WrestleMania, and to be honest with you, it should be about Gunther. I don't think Sami should have won last year, even though that would have put him out of the Intercontinental title and into the World title, which is what it did, but now he's in the passing the torch again mode, and Gunther should have no business there yet. He's not in that part of his career yet. Gunther's still in the prime. He's not in the give back stage. He's not in the John Cena stage of his career. He's got likely 5 years, really good years ahead of him. So this is it's an abomination for Gunther. Can they rebuild him? Is he damaged forever? No. But why even go through that stage? Why? We shouldn't even have to go through the rehabilitation of Gunther's character, which was badass, seemingly unbeatable, doesn't cheat to win, is just kick-ass. And now we have to rebuild that image, which has been tarnished by the booking. That's it. And so thanks, Bevan, and hope all's well. Don't work yourself too much, man. I get it. Next voicemail.
Hey, it's the Waz from the Indianapolis area. So I'm just sending in this message about who else could join Seth Rollins, Heyman, with Breaker. And Bronson Reed was already on my mind. I thought that was a great idea that you mentioned because I was already thinking that. But what also about dipping into someone that was part of Seth Rollins' Messiah run, and that was Austin Theory, if I do remember correctly. And I think he could use a good push right now. So I just wanted to mention that. Also, the match with the 4 women on Raw, Rhea, and the girls from NXT with Io Sky really great match. Those two from NXT look really good. Definitely can believe that they could be part of the future of the women's division. But yeah, those ones look really great. And then I just wanted to consider, what about Seth bringing Becky into his group, or a female? That works really great for Rhea when she joined Judgment Day. So there might be someone that needs that push too, that's a female. Can't really think off the top of my head who that would be. But just wanted to throw that out there. Hope you all doing well. Later.
All right, Waz, welcome back. And the Austin Theory, I mean, if you've heard the show up to this point, you have heard my thoughts on Austin Theory, and someone else had floated that as well. And again, I don't think it's the worst idea. I don't think it's a great idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just an idea. And until it's actually fleshed out and executed, I can't really give my thoughts on how I think it could go. I mean, every time you think Austin Theory is going to break away from Waller and they're going to give him a big push, it just falls flat. Austin Theory is running on a hamster wheel. They can't get him off. And perhaps this will help him if there's some big idea. I mean, again, I'm not against it. I'm certainly not against Austin Theory joining if Bronson Reed does as well. Here's the thing. I would not also go over 4 people. 4 would be the absolute max. In fact, 3 might be the sweet spot. Once you get beyond 4, it gets muddy and messy. It's just not a good time when you get beyond 4, because then the focus is on too many people. Your attention's diverted. So what you want is 3, maybe 4 at the most. And those 2 could be Austin Theory and Bronson Reed, or just one of them. If I was to pick one, I think Bronson Reed is a perfect fit. Bronson Reed fits it to a T. Austin Theory kind of does too, but to be honest, I think most people view Bronson Reed, even though he's been on the shelf for several months, above Austin Theory. So that's my vote, and I'm sticking to it. As far as Becky Lynch being brought in, you could. Again, you need to be careful of female members, and we've seen it with the Judgment Day, and we saw what happened with Rhea, and it worked really well for Rhea. But there's also a lot of talk of CM Punk bringing back AJ. I think CM Punk bringing back AJ for a Seth Rollins versus Becky Lynch match, tag team match for Becky and Seth versus AJ and CM Punk would be, I mean, that's a headline anywhere. So there's talk of that. It's not the worst idea. I don't know if she would officially join, but perhaps she just kind of, occasionally comes in to help her husband. They're both heels now. That's not the worst idea either. It's just you got to be a little bit cautious when you're putting men and women together in the same faction, because then it gets messy with wrestling. And can the men retaliate? They never let them, but then if the men can't retaliate, then they look weak because they just have to stand there and take it. I don't like that either. It's pro wrestling, for God's sakes, and the men are just supposed to cower. It's ridiculous. So it doesn't help anybody when the women get physical, but then the men are like, oh, okay, well, go ahead and kick me in the nuts. I'm just going to stand here because you have this imaginary shield of womanhood around you. I hate it. Rhea did that 1,000,000 times and got away with it. But yeah, other than that, though, it makes sense logically, yes. Thanks, Waz.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I wanted to talk about the situation with the Rhea and Io and Roxanne and Julia. I thought that match was really good. It was really cool to see Julia and Roxanne both on the main event and showing up on Raw lately, back and forth. And especially with Roxanne, we saw her talking to Finn Balor more than once now backstage. I'm wondering if they're going to end up having them in an alliance as a group, and Balor can run whatever with Roxanne and Julia, or maybe not, as Julia kind of broke up, kind of was upset with Roxanne after losing the match last week or this past week. So I don't know if I think it's just going to be Roxanne and Finn Balor within a team with each other as an alliance. But I wonder when that's going to go. So it'll be interesting. And by the way, you said that Gunther and Jey Uso, that might just happen on Raw, the Raw after Money in the Bank. So that's what it is. 2 nights is on an episode of Raw. So anyway, that's it. This is my call. Bye.
Kyle, I don't mind Finn Balor having his own group, and I think he's long overdue for some kind of attention. He's been on the fringe of relevancy for a long time. Even when he was tag team champions as part of the Judgment Day, it never really felt like it was about him. It was always the drama with Dom and Rhea, and then eventually Liv. It never really has been about Finn Balor, almost ever. And I'm not saying he's being wasted because he's getting regular matches on TV, and I'm not concerned about his career or being fired or anything. Just there is something there that they haven't got yet, and it could be definitely a faction. Roxanne Perez, you want to bring her in and have them as a team? Fine. I think he eventually is going to undermine the Judgment Day. He's already in the process of it. Him and Dom are going to come to blows. Dom's going to play the babyface. Crazy that I'm saying that, but he is. They'll have a fun matchup, fun rivalry. Maybe Finn ends up taking the Intercontinental Championship from Dom ultimately. I mean, it could happen at SummerSlam. But right now, Finn he's relevant, but just like the outskirts of relevancy. He's on the fringe of what you remember from Raw. And I don't think he should be there. I don't think he should be front and center, the center of attention, the face of the show, but he should be at a higher level than what he's been at for really a couple of years now. All right. I think, is this our final voicemail? It might be. Let's do it.
Hey, it's Andrew from Flint. Usually I email in, but I'm actually driving down to the airport and taking a week-long vacation in Denver, Colorado. So I figured I'd shoot a voicemail this time around. I wanted to comment about who could be joining this new stable faction with Seth Rollins. I know you brought up Bronson Reed. That's who immediately came to my mind. But what about Dragunov? He's been off TV for a while. I don't know where he's at with his injury, but a nice upcoming superstar who was really on the ascend before he got pushed off TV. So I was thinking he might be a good possibility too. And then the second point that I want to make, unrelated to that topic, John Cena. I'm loving his heel turn. I love his work. I'm kind of in a minority. But the one thing I'm sick of is I am so sick of him being laid out at the end of every appearance. Like if it's an RKO or, Cody Rhodes finisher. At the end of every show, the WWE champion looks weak. And I know that's per typical as a heel, but I just would like to see him standing on top at the end of a show. So thank you for the couple minutes. Thank you, Matt.
All right, Andrew. Well, enjoy Denver. Never been. But every time I see pictures, I've seen some people that live there. I know people that live there, and I've heard nothing but good stuff. I know the weather can be insane where it's 71 days, snowing the next, and that kind of thing. But I'd still love to visit. Definitely with all, the Rocky Mountains and everything else over there and the city itself. But enjoy whatever you're doing there. Enjoy it. So it has become insane that John Cena has at every turn for every show that he's there gets laid out. And the idea is to get that person over, make it believable that that person could beat John Cena for the championship, or in Cody's case, retain the championship before WrestleMania. And I get it. It's supposed to make John Cena look vulnerable. And he's laid out, right? And then he'll lay there for 20 minutes selling the RKO or whatever and knocked out for 20 minutes. And then yet at the event, the actual match, he'll get hit with multiple finishes and kick out at 2. I mean, I get it. It's wrestling. It's a presentation. It's a story, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's just kind of a little too much. And as far as your idea that John Cena shouldn't be laid out every time, I agree. Can we have John Cena just look dominant? Nobody can stop him? I don't want John Cena to be looking like this legend at the end of his career. I know he is, but I don't want to feel that way. I want him to look dangerous. I want him to look vicious. I want him to look strong. I mean, I understand too that there is a golden rule. That's not always, okay? It's not a hard and fast rule, but having the person who's going to lose at the event get the advantage before the PLE, it's about 75% of the time that's the case. But once in a while, can the person who's going to retain actually get the advantage on the way to the actual PLE? I know that's not the typical story that's told. Most of the time, you can tell who's going to win at the PLE by who gets the most number of advantages, particularly the televised event before the PLE. Who's got the last laugh, who got the last hit, who got the last finisher hit. It's kind of a clue. Again, not always true, but most of the time it is. where that person is going to lose at you can kind of tell who's going to lose at the PLE. And John Cena, though, lately, I mean, can anybody name one time where he wasn't laid out during a televised event leading up to a match since he's been back? I can't. John Cena is, I mean, he has. I mean, sure, there's been some war of words, but when things got physical, John Cena has almost always got laid out. So I'd agree. That should change. That should change. But all right. Thank you, everybody. Great voicemails, fun emails. Appreciate it. It was about 40 minutes. Look at me. That was really a guess at the beginning of the show. So I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. I'll be back on Sunday. I really may try to do live shows. If I do have a live show set up, I'm not saying it's going to happen this Sunday, but if it does, keep those of you on Patreon, keep an eye on Patreon. I'll be posting there, or on X. Search for me on X, the WWE Podcast. Search for me there. I'm right there. I'll be posting a live link if I decide to do it this Sunday, but I would like to try to do them on a weekly basis. So keep an eye out for that. I appreciate it. If you guys want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE Podcast is also the place to go. All right. Everybody enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.